Hello, friends. Legal Breeze welcomes you for yet another discussion relating to foreign trade policy of India and WTO. We should understand the difference between international trade law and foreign trade or law relating to foreign trade. The law relating to foreign trade is dealing with a particular country. Say example, India's foreign trade can be regulated by its own policies and laws. On the other hand, international trade and law relating to international trade is not regulated by one particular country. It is developed and shaped, molded, and governed, regulated by various international institutions, bodies, and organizations. Sometimes it will have certain impact from the principles emanating from the UN Charter also. One cannot avoid its influence. Currently, there are few international trade entities which regulates international trade law, particularly WTO and UNCITRAL. WTO is more binding. I'm sorry. It is more binding. It has very strong regulatory as well as robust dispute settlement mechanism. That is why WTO is more popular and considered to be one of the most authoritative institution relating to international trade law is concerned. So now you know the difference between international trade law and law relating to foreign trade. It should be remembered there is a relationship, there is a cusping point between the two. The international trade law will have necessarily influence on the foreign trade law or law relating to foreign trade of a particular country. The law relating to foreign trade of a particular country must be in compliance of international trade law rather than vice versa. Now, in this context, we should analyze what is the problem for India's foreign trade policy or India's foreign trade law is concerned. We have certain schemes called Merchandise Export Incentivizing Scheme and Special Tax Benefits for Export Oriented Units EOUs and Special Tax Benefits emanating from for the industries which are operating particularly for the purpose of exports from the Special Economic Zone called SEZ. For all these things, we have certain incentive schemes, including tax incentives at the local level and export duties and other facilities, incentives, subsidies are also granted by Government of India. Now, this can be regulated by international trade law, particularly the WTO. WTO comprises various agreements. Broadly, it can be classified into multilateral category agreements and plurilateral category agreements. You may ask me, sir, how can I understand whether a given particular agreement belongs to the multilateral category or plurilateral category? The answer is very simple. WTO contains 4 annexes and any agreement comes or listed in the annexure 4 can be treated as plurilateral. On the other hand, any agreements which is found or listed from annexure 1 to 3, then that agreements can be identified as multilateral agreements. Multilateral agreements are mandatorily followed by all the member countries of WTO and which is binding upon all the member countries, whereas plurilateral category agreements are optional. So all WTO members are necessarily members of multilateral agreements. On the other hand, all WTO members need not to be members of plurilateral categories of agreements, but all members of the plurilateral agreements annexed to the WTO agreement should be members of WTO is concerned. So this is the relationship, you all should study it. Where it has been spelled out. This has been spelled out under Article 2 as well as under Article 16 of the Marrakesh Agreement establishing the World Trade Organization. These 16 articles in fact governs the entire international trade law is concerned, particularly within the ambit of WTO. Then we should focus another the organizational structure. The WTO is comprising of the topmost body is known as Ministerial Conference under which another council is functioning called general councils, under which three specialized councils are functioning called council for trips, council for goods, council for services. So this is the vertical hierarchy. There are certain horizontal hierarchy is also there. However, all are subjected to ministerial conference, because ministerial conference is a supreme body. Okay, what is the horizontal structure? You have a dispute settlement body, something like the judicial wing. You have executive wing called general council. Of course, it is subjected to ministerial conference decisions. And you have the chief of WTO is known as director general. There is a directorate or secretariat of WTO is headed by the director general of WTO. Again, it is appointed by he or she is appointed by the ministerial conference. Currently, I understand a woman belonging from a developing country is heading the WTO. I couldn't remember her name. It can be a question for any of your GK questions, so please read it. Then there are many agreements, as I have stated. One of the agreement is known as SCMS, that is subsidies and countervailing measures. This agreement regulates the export incentives given by various member countries. It prescribes certain threshold beyond which certain facilities cannot be granted by, or subsidies cannot be granted by any member countries, particularly the developing member countries. That is, what is the criteria? Any country which has a gross national income of per capita of $1,000 per person consistently more than 3 years, then that country is losing the status of various benefits available under the countervailing measures agreement is concerned. India has surpassed this threshold way back in 2013, but still India keeps continuing giving of all this granting of all these subsidies to these export oriented units, merchandise export incentive schemes, and institutions or entities, industries working in the special economic zones are concerned. These are all violation of the aforestated agreement. So US has filed a complaint before the dispute settlement body of WTO. In the dispute settlement body of WTO, there are two bodies. One is known as panel, another is known as appellate body. Before constituting the panel, one should try to adjudicate the matter, to settle the matter amicably. And for amicably settling the matter, the Director General will try to settle the matter amicably using his good office without compromising the neutrality of the said office. If it is not possible to settle the matter through negotiation, then only the matter shall be referred to the panel. And panel as well as dispute settlement body, there is a prescribed composition. The dispute settlement, if the ruling is granted by the panel, it can be appealed to the dispute settlement appellate body. The appellate body is consisting of 7 judges. At least minimum 3 judges are required to settle a dispute or to adjudicate a dispute, because otherwise you cannot have assenting or dissenting opinion, and the decision ought to be determined based on the majority. If there is only 2 members, even members, then it can be splitted into tie. So that to avoid that, only odd numbers have been prescribed. So minimum of 3 members are required to adjudicate a dispute arising out of appeals. For the past few years, the dispute settlement body, appellate body, is vacant, and currently there is 0 members. The members can be appointed only by consensus. The US is not supporting to constitute the members. That's very unfortunate. Because of that, the appeal from India could not be taken up. So therefore, India is using all these incentive schemes or subsidy schemes, because it is entitled to get an appeal. Only after that appeal, India has to cut down or scale down all these subsidy or incentive measures is concerned. That is why India has not currently worked upon or extended or announcing the new foreign trade policy, which has already expired. We hope a new committee will be set up. The committee will take into account of all the futuristic needs, including the WTO obligations, and try to draft a good policy which supports our national interest as well as complying international trade obligations. We hope this information could have been useful to you. If you like it, please pass on to your fellow friends, subscribe our channels, and we would like to thank all our student friends who are actively participating in disseminating this channel as well as the content which you would like to provide to the legal fraternities concerned. God bless you all. Thank you. Jai Hind.